Baje kanta baje baje karatala
kanta baje kanta baje baje karatala
Lanka baje kanta baje baje karatala
Shanka baje ganta baje baje karatala
Madhura miranga baje Parama rasala
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 Madhu 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 baje
Madhur 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 baje
Sanka baje kanta baje Madhu 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 baje
Shanka bhaje kanta baje Madhur 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 baje
baje ganta baje madhur 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 baje
Shanka bhaje kanta baje Madhur madhur madhura baje
Sanka baje kanta baje Madhu 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 baje
Shanka bhaje kanta baje Madhur 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 baje
Madhu 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 baje
Madhur madhur madhura baje
Madhur madhur madhu baje Madhur madhur
madhur baje
Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra 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 Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Baho Kute Chandra Jene Vadana Udvala
Baho Koti Chandra Jine Vardhana Ujala
Baho Kute Chandra Jene Vadana Ujvala
Baho Koti Chandra Jine Vardhana Ujala
Galari Sibanamala Puri Jala Ma
Galari Bhanamala Kore Jalamala
Galari Sibanamala Puri Jalamala
Galari Shivana-mala Kore Jalamala
Shiva Sukha Narada Premi Gada Gada
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 Bhakati Vinodadiki Gaurara Sampada
Bhakati Vinodadiki Gaurara Sampada
Bhakati Vinodadiki Gaurara Sampada
Bhakati Vinodadiki Gaurara Sampada
Iba Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Aratika Shobha
Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Aratika Shobha
Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Aratika Shobha
Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Aratika Shobha
Jana Vitatavani Jagamana Loba
Jana Vitatavani Jagamana Loba
Jaga Jana Mana Loba
Jaga Jagamana Loba
Gaurange Aru Tika Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Loba
Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Jaga Mana Lobha
Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Loba
Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jaga Jaga Mana Lobha
Jaga Jana Mana Loba
Jaga Jaga Mana Lobha
Jaga Jana Mana Loba
Jaga Jaga Mana Lobha
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
O Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pashtadishatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachari Chatarine
O Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachari Chatarine
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Everyone loudly please Srivasadi Gaur Everyone, please sing very loudly. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Together, loudly. Shri
Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Together, louder. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Louder. Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Everyone
Hare
please chant
Hare.
loudly Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Louder Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Hare Hare
Again everyone Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra, Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra, Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra, Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra, Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ki.
Hare Krishna. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Astota Star Sri Madhus Vangres A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Astota Star Sri Madhus His Vangres Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj ki. Srila Gokisharas Babaji Maharaj ki. Sachitananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Sat Goswami ki. Prem Sakho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Mathur Dham ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki. Gangamai Yamunamai ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki. glorious 14th anniversary of their Lordship, Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Ki, Shri Shri Nitai-Gaurachandra Ki, most merciful Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Ki, moonlight Nitai-Gaurachandra Ki. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Ki.
Namaste Narashingaya Praladharayine Hiranyakashipurvakshay Shilatanakana Kalaine Ito Nirsimha Parato Nirsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nirsimha Bahir Nirsimha Ridhai Nirsimha Narashingamarim Sharanam Prapare Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavarita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagarish Hare Jai Jagarish Hare Jai Jagarish Hare Kamalavare Jai Jagarish Hare Jai Jagarish Hare Jai Jagarish Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai, Bhakti Srimani Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ki.
Hare Krishna. Don't feel that it is finished. The program now begins. Generally, when you Hare Krishna culture is that when you finish Namaste, that means Prasadam, time to go home. So please, it is just the beginning of 5 days anniversary, 14th anniversary celebration of their Lordship, Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. This special artik was just the beginning, and the curtain will only close for a few minutes. and it will be widely open for the rest of this evening session, at least next hour and a half or so. There will be a dupe artik to conclude this evening session. And this evening is special in many ways. One of the most special things for me for this evening is to just sit here or stand in front of their Lordship and just gaze at them, knowing that 14 years ago, on the 25th of January 2009, His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami, assisted by Bhuttari Prabhu, would have installed their Lordship. And during the artik, I was just looking at them and I was thinking, what kindness that when we would have saw them in Mayapur, how is it that they agree? You know, a set of deities were there. I said this many times before. Some of the elderly, older devotees will remember. So there was a set of deities there. And how is it that they choose to come to Guyana is, for me, is very special, very mysterious. So on a day like today, we can take the opportunity to pray sincerely to their Lordship and their advent here among us in our association, to continue to bless us with devotion, bless us in chanting the holy name of the Lord, bless us in hearing every syllable in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Bless us with service, continuous service to their lotus feet, and more so to take them out on a regular basis, so that as they would have attract all of us, so that they can go out more and more and attract many more souls to Krishna consciousness, to the chanting and to the practice of Krishna consciousness. So this is their mood, this is their process. I cannot hold back myself that last night something special would have happened. Jai Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ki. So something special would have happened. So Hari Kirtan used to say to us that, and Giri Krishna and Sachi Sutta and all of them used to say that even though we would have purchased so many hard drive over the years, like, I don't know, terabytes and so many gigs and whatever, Hari Kirtans, Giri Krishna, Sachi Sutta, all these people are telling us that they don't have anything of the history, short history of Hare Krishna Study Center, all the Padayatras, Ratayatras, all the major events that would have took place, include the installation of their Lordship, and so many more activities that would have took place over the years. Last night, I was looking up something to give Hare Kirtan. I thought we were looking up some international something, videos on YouTube to give Hare Kirtan to put together something for a television program for this evening. So I type in, ISKCON Padayatra. Then I see some international thing, Padayatra, Mayapur, India, like that. Then I type in Padayatra worldwide. And again, so many things. Then I don't know what came into my head, and I said, I type in ISKCON Guyana Padayatra. And lo and behold, I don't know if Hare Kirtan can show you on this projector screen here at some point in time. Lo and behold, Mr. Ram's son, Mark, had all these videos of at least the most significant one, the most important one for us, the most historical one for us was 2009 Padayatra. Many things happened. Many persons who you see around became devotees, and many things happened for that Padayatra. Even some persons probably who had doubts, who were coming around Krishna consciousness and had doubt, within that 7 days from Trasby to the Embankment Road, Kana here, would have become completely surrender or sold out. So if you see the glimpse of this Padayatra, the walk, the entire walk, like if we are walking from, that time was, now is S&S supermarket at Lusignan, that time was Budget, super center, supermarket. If we were walking from there, going down, going in Mandripose a little, and then come out back at the market corner there for the evening stage program, you can see all that we went in. You can see that was a year after the massacre in Lusignan, for example. So you can see the devotees, you can see the devotees went into almost there in those streets at the back, way at the back in Lusignan, where the massacre would have took place. And that is just giving you a little glimpse of what took place on the roadside and in the villages of 2019. However, the day before Padayatra, the Sunday was the grand installation. So it means that the Sunday, the 25th, was, the grand installation of their Lordship, and immediately Monday the 26th, they went out for a whole week of Padayatra celebration. And amazingly, you can see, I was seeing that the Lusignan stage program, there were people like Prakash Gosai, there were the acting Prime Minister, acting President, Prime Minister, Mr. Samuel Hines was there, and night after night. And then when I see, when we come to, then was Starlight Driving. So I was telling Hari Kirtan, now you have to go and show these massive people what we had there before they came and built. Because apparently, a lot of the places that we went and did Padayatra, something historical comes up. Like we did Padayatra some years at Mahaika Market Square, and the Amara Bank have a new branch there. The new bank is right there where we did Padayatra. And we did Padayatra out here, was, so significantly, the blessings of their Lordship act in amazing ways. I'm seeing the offerings to their Lordship, this evening. I was meditating that Krishna Gyan, Giri Krishna Prabhu, I think Sanjaya and of Sachi Sutta was on that trip. The four of you was on that India trip, famous one. So I was just thinking during the article that, Giri Krishna Prabhu have so much stories to tell us about those Gaurnitai, brass Gaurnitai Utsav deities that's supposed to be on the altar. Until now, they are not on the altar. It is a drive for all of us to become Brahmanically inclined or initiated. Those lords are waiting. They are still at lot 13, waiting. So on a day like today, for example, now we wouldn't have been talking here. We would have been performing Abhishek to the Gaurnitai Utsav deities of, Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. So still, so many things are yet to take place, but the offering is amazing. Their Lordship look, I don't know where they find, every time these outfits comes on, it all look like new to me, like first time they are wearing them. I think some of their Lordship assistants came a little late. Maybe you can still do, Tash and others. Even while you're sitting here, you can still do. Amazingly, Ronald bring 200 plus lotus. So you can still, stick in some lotus there whilst the program are going on. Maybe some big vase with lotuses. The 10th anniversary, when we did the 10th anniversary, 2019 was something else, but still with Lotus. Still you can do your part. So we'll continue with this evening session. It's also, you can call it the Adivas, for 3 days of Padayatra, beginning from tomorrow to Saturday. So we'll go out for 3 days, and then Sunday morning we'll come back here for the final session. So it's the anniversary, and also we can call it the Adivas for Padayatra 2023, which according to Hari Kirtan calculation, 12th anniversary of Padayatra, that I don't know if 2 years we miss or 3 years we miss. We did 2020. So 2021 and 22 we miss. So this is 12th anniversary for Padayatra. A pandemic would have taken away 2 years, but it is 14th anniversary of their Lordship. Let us take in full their blessings and let us participate as much as possible. Let us see what Hari Kirtan and Sachisuta and the boys have for us. At some point in time, there must be their signature title song, Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. That Lochandas Thakur bhajan, Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra, supreme bliss. Parama Karuna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So this is one of the most auspicious days on HKSC's calendar, and we may feel that there aren't a lot of people here with us, but usually for our birthdays it's often quite intimate. So it's a very intimate setting with us and Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. It's just us and the Lord. Of course, those of you who are joining online. I'm sure everyone here loves Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra, and something, at least one thing in our lives, we can relate to them with. And I'm sure there is some part of the Lord's form that we really love. And it is quite wonderful that our Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra's anniversary begins our local Gaur Purnima season. I don't know if we ever thought about it like that. Because it is Gaur Nitai, then after the Lord's anniversary we have Advaita Acharya Appearance Day, and then Nityananda Trayodasi, and then of course a month of Gaura Katha, and then Gaur Purnima. So it's quite wonderful, and it's definitely not coincidental that Shri Nitai and Shri Gaurachandra have chosen to come here at this time of the year. So we'll try to sing one bhajan, Gaurangera Duti Pada, written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, the translation of which goes as follows. Maybe we can have the translation on the screen as well. Anyone who has accepted the two lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya as their only asset, knows the true essence of devotional service. If anyone gives submissive oral reception to the pleasing and sweet pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, then immediately his heart becomes cleansed of all material contamination. Anyone who simply chants the name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, everyone please loudly, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, will immediately develop love of Godhead. I offer him all congratulations, saying, Bravo! If anyone feels ecstasy and cries by simply hearing the transcendental qualities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he at once understands the eternal loving affairs between Radha and Krishna. Anyone who has understood that the associates of Lord Chaitanya, and those associates doesn't necessarily only refer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's direct associates, but refers to our devotee community as well. Anyone who has understood that the associates of Lord Chaitanya are eternally liberated souls immediately becomes eligible to enter into the abode of Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, in his next birth. If anyone understands that there is no difference between Gaura Mandala, the place in West Bengal wherein Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his pastimes, and the transcendental abode of Vrindavan, then he actually lives in Vrindavan. Anyone who takes pleasure sporting within the waves of the ocean of Lord Chaitanya's distribution of love of God immediately becomes a confidential devotee of Shri Shri Radha Madhava. It doesn't matter whether such a devotee is in the renounced order of life or whether he is a householder. If he is actually taking part in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan activities and actually understanding what it is, then such a person is always liberated. Narottam Das aspires for his association. Gaurangera duti pada jardhana sampada. Gaurangera duti pada jardhana sampada. से जाने भक्ति रससा से जाने भक्ति रससा गौरांगेरा दुति पदा जाधना संपदा गौरांगेरा धुति para jadhana sampara से जाने भक्ति रससा से जाने भक्ति रससा गौरांगेरा मधुरा लीला चार करने प्रवेशिला गौरांगेरा मधुर लीला चार करने प्रवेशिला गौरांगेरा मधुर लीला जार करने प्रवेशिला गौरांगेरा मधुर लीला जार करने प्रवेशिला हृदया निर्मला बेलो तार हृदया निर्मला भेलो हृदया निर्मला बेलोता
Vidhoya nirmala bhilota
Je Gaurangir namaloy tar hoy premadoy
Je Gaurangir namaloy tar hoy premadoy
तारे मोए जाय बोले हारी तारे मोए जाय बोले हारी
तारे मोए जाय बोले हारे तारे मोए जाय बोले हारे
गौरांगा गुने ते जुरे नित्य लीला तारे सुरे
गौरंगा गुनीते जोरे नित्य लीला तारे पुरे
गौरांगा गुने ते जुरे नित्य लीला तारे स्फुरे
गौरंगा गुनीते जोरे नित्य लीला तारा स्फुरे
से जाने भक्ति अधिकारी से जाना भक्ति अधिकारी
से जना भक्ति अधिकारे से जना भक्ति अधिकारे
गौरांगेरा दुति परा जाधना संपदा
गौरंगेरा धुति परा जाढ़न संपदा
गौरांगेरा द्युति पदा जाधना संपदा
गौरंगेरा धुति परा जाढ़न संपदा
गौरांगेरा संगी गणे नित्य सिद्धा कोरी माने
गौरंगेरा संगी गणे नित्य सिद्धा कोरी माने
से जाय ब्रजेंद्र सुता पाठ से जाय ब्रजेंद्र सुता पाठ
से जाय ब्रजेंद्र सुता पाठ से जाय ब्रजेंद्र सुता पाठ
श्री गौरा मंडला भूमि जेव जाने चिंता मनी
श्री गौरा मंडला भूमि जेव जाने चिंता मने
श्री गौरा मंडला भूमि जेव जाने चिंतामणि
श्री गौरा मंडला भूमि जेवा जाने चिंतामणि
तार होय ब्रजा भूमि बास तार होय ब्रजा भूमि बास
तारा होय ब्रजा भूमि तारा होय ब्रजा भूमि
गौरांगेरा द्युति पदा jardhana sampada
Gauranga Dhuti Para
Se jane bhakti rasasa Se jane bhakti rasasa
Se jane bhakti rasa Se jane bhakti rasa
Gaura prema rasarnave Setarange devadube
Gaura prema rasarnave
Setarange
devadube
Gaura prema rasarnave Setarange devadube
Gaura prema rasanave Setarange devadube
Shri Radha Madhava Antaranga Shri Radha Madhava Antaranga
Shri Radha Madhava Antaranga Shri Radha Madhava Antaranga
Grihet Vavanete Take Gauranga Bole Dake
Grihe Bhavanite Take Gauranga Bole Dake
Grihe Vavanete Take Gauranga Bole Dake
Grihe Bhavanite Take Gauranga Bole Dake
Narottama Mage Tarasanga Narottama Mage Tarasanga
Narottama Mage Tarasanga Narottama Mage Tarasanga
Oh Gaurangira Duti Pada Jardhana Sampada Gaurangira
Dhuti Para Jardhana Sampada
Oh Gaurangira Duti Pada Jardhana Sampada
Gaurangira Dhuti Para Jardhana Sampada
Se jane bhakti rasasa Se jane bhakti rasasa
Se jane bhakti rasasa Se jane bhakti rasasa
Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari
Jaya Gaura Hare Jaya Gaura Hare Gaura Hare Jaya Gaura Hare
Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaurachandra Nitai Jaya Gaurachandra
Nitai Jaya Gaurachandra Nitai Jaya Gaurachandra
Jaya Shri Gaurachand Shri Gaurachand Shri Gaurachand Jaya Shri Gaurachand
Shri Gopal Shri Gopal Shri Gopal Jaya Shri Gopal
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jai Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ki
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hare Kirtan, for leading us in such a wonderful bhajan which glorifies their lordships, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. So at this point in time, we will be continuing. We would like to first of all invite His Grace Prabhupada Prabhu to, share a few thoughts with us, because he has been here, and maybe be very instrumental in, having their lordships to come and reside here. As I think I saw in one of the invitations, the Lord of Georgetown. So Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they are the Lord of Georgetown. So, we are very fortunate, all of us, that over the years we have got the opportunity to engage in their service, and they have, showered their causeless mercy upon all of us. So we would like to invite Prabhupada Prabhu to share a few thoughts with us, and then we'll hear. We have His Grace Shanta Vigraha Prabhu and many other devotees who are here. We are hoping to hear from you. So Shanta Vigraha Prabhu is here once again in our presence, and by some magic he just arrived this evening, just beginning of the program. So over to Prabhupada.
So there are mystical things that normally happen or sometimes happens around this area. So yes, I would say that when Srila Prabhupada installed deities many places in the world, he called them like London Ishwar, Paris Ishwar, and rather Dwarkadish and like that, so many names are like that. So no issue if you want to say their lordship of Georgetown, or Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra or Nitai-Gaurachandra of Georgetown. They are from Georgetown and East Coast both. They are the lords so far of this area. So to speak, they are the king of this area. So to give a little recap and maybe information to some of us, we moved here 2006, 2007. We started early 2007. We started Sunday Love Feast, and 2008, or I think 2007 self, we start our Forest Ratha Yatra in Georgetown. We call it our Forest Ratha Yatra in Georgetown, and that was, the first time that His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami would have visit with Ajamil Prabhu, and that Ratha Yatra was at Everest Cricket Ground. So we had a parade in Georgetown and end up at Everest Cricket Ground. I don't know if anyone was there. That was the time when Maharaj walked off the stage. I don't know who was there, but Maharaj would have walked off the stage. There was a huge crowd of people, and the stage was a little high. And, everybody catch Maharaj in the ground, who were there in the crowd. So that was something special that happened. And I was speaking about these videos, and then I saw for the first time what took place at National Park in 2008 while I was in India. I wasn't there. The second Ratha Yatra, Shiv Shanta Vigraha I saw was there. Like everybody from Trinidad was there at the National Park. Huge kirtan and, Lord Jagannath. The first time they had this, the chariot, Krishna again had this fancy horse, both sides of the chariot, the Ratha Yatra cart. That was the first time that cart came out, I think. So while we were in India, on that trip, while you were enjoying, Ratha Yatra in Georgetown, and I think, that was later in the year. I think that was October, November time that this Ratha Yatra took place, and I happened to be in India looking, and I'm just making a lot of the connection from last night to now when I saw all this. I didn't make this connection before. So we were looking on that trip, because we were already planning Padayatra. Ram Leela came back here, and Maharaj and And Ajamil Prabhu and Maharaj became known as the walking monk, and we thought, well, we have to go and we have to take Maharaj out on a whole week walk, Padayatra. But how to do Padayatra? There was no deities. How do we do Padayatra? I think at that time there was some rift with Bhattadi Prabhu and the Nitai-Gaurachandra deities that would have ended up by Rancho Place. So we thought we have to get our own deities. And then we thought, well, these deities, we wouldn't have them like on a full-time, full-schedule worship like Crane and Borbies. We'll call them the festival deities, and that pretty much we will worship them at a minimum standard. So while they were everybody were here enjoying amazing. I never attended a Ratayatra or any Hare Krishna function at Guyana National Park. I never. So I didn't have the opportunity. Last night I am attending through this video that Mark, Mr. Ramson would have put out. And it's there, you can see it. It's on YouTube. Amazing. I didn't realize it was so grand. So then within that time I went to Mayapur and went to this devotee that does kirtan, Sachi Kumar. Yeah, he looks like, the boys said he looked like Radhakishore when we went to India 2013. So he was one of the Sankirtan in charge. So Mayapur have at least 30 Sankirtan buses. So Sankirtan buses for them means that they have an altar, they have a temple room, and they have their bookstore, prasadam area and everything. Where when the brahmachari goes out, they goes out for a couple of weeks in different areas, different village all over, and then keep distributing books and do harinam and like that. So these deities are called Sankirtan deities. So when I went up at the, I think was the Gita Bhavan, and I'm going to stay in Gita Bhavan for the first time. Those of you who go to Mayapur or you see a video, yeah, that is Sachikumar Prabhu. Yes, that's him right there. So when you come out in front Panchatattva temple room and you look at that building, that is called the Sankirtan building or the Gita Bhavan. So for the first time I'm going to stay next 2 weeks. I will be staying there. Satyam get a room for me. So I can actually, I'm envisioning that I will see Panchatattva from my room, If I'm in there, I will see Panchatattva there. So I will be staying there. So he took me upstairs in the area that they kept all the deities. So when I went, I was so foolish and so naive that I thought among like maybe 10 or 12 pairs of wooden neem Gaurnitai deities that I had to choose. I already talked to Pankajangri, Jananivas Prabhu, and they put me onto Sachikumar Prabhu that, he would be the person. We thought we were going to order neem deities in Navadvip who make their deities. But they said, no, you're going to talk to this Prabhu. So he took me and said, when he somehow or the other understood that I thought, I didn't say anything, but he somehow or the other understood that I am thinking that I can choose. So before I said anything, he said, no, that these are the ones that are going with you. This pair here is the one that is going with you. That was it. You're not coming to choose deities here. It's not like we have a display and you go to a shoe rack or you go to a t-shirt rack or a kurta rack and you're going to choose. No, you're not going to purchase deities like that. You're not going to bring the Lord like that. The Lord will be given to you. Of course, that's in Mayapur. This is 2009. How would you argue? You cannot argue, so that was it. So how much donation we have to give? And then I start to speak like real paka now, So I wouldn't say how much you're paying for what price to the deities now, So how much donation you're giving and like that. So of course Ram Leela Prabhu would have contributed towards their lordship to give those donations, and then we air freight them, and they were here. So that was November, so everything was done within December. Their lordship was already here, and ready for festival in January, ready for the installation. Everything was already earmarked for Maharaj to come. Maharaj wasn't here for that second Ratha Yatra at National Park. He came in January for the installation of their lordship. His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami Bhattadi Prabhu was here, Ram Leela, and quite a few other devotees, older devotees who were around. Installation took place in a little small altar that we had under the shed. You can see many pictures. I hope that Hari Kirtan should have some pictures up. Where's Hari Kirtan? He should have had some pictures up while I'm speaking all these things. So year after year, and then of course the lordship start to be worshipped with Mangalarti at 6 a.m. in the morning, catering for the students' population back in those days, and devotees coming from the outside. And that first initiate devotees can worship their lordship. And that's how it remained. And that was a very, very humble setting that we would have put them in. Zinc roof, heat was coming down. They were all just standing there all the time. So for the rest of 2009, 2010, till 2011, around Ram Navami time, after Gaur Purnima, between Gaur Purnima and Ram Navami, that they would have moved to Lat 13, and even again Lat 13 was a very humble setting. Many of you would have attended Lat 13. Again, Hari Kirtan should have had pictures of Lat 13. So they were there for 5.5 years. Many festivals took place. Many persons get an opportunity to worship them directly, indirectly, in so many ways. Worship them on Padayatra, worship them by coming and chanting a rung of Hare Krishna Mahamantra in front of them, or clean or bail out water from their den temple room. So there were so many ecstatic things that was happening. One of the things that took place, historical thing that took place, 2013, was that after 2012, I think, after we moved there, was 9 days, 24-hour kirtan. So we never dream about this thing. What happened, and I mentioned this during this last kirtan festival, that when we moved there, we realized that many things started to go wrong. Later on, we found out that the position of the place and the vastu and all the goodwill and all the good relationship and everything that we had here, we started to see all kinds of difficulties and trials and tests and differences and all that was going on. So we went to India, I think either 2012, 2013, I think 2012, and connect with this Vastu astrologer and carry the measurement of the place and the building, pictures of the building and all that. And he said because of all these Vastu imbalances, all these things are taking place. But generally in Karmakandi, they will do so many pujas and they will do so many things to remedy. But he knows that we are Vaishnavas, we are ISKCON, he cannot recommend all these things. So many devotees who are around then will now refresh our memory how this 9 days kirtan came. So this have to be, I said at the end of the last kirtan that we never show our gratitude to Keshavji, his Vastu astrologer from Delhi, and also Satyamji who took me there. So those two persons were instrumental in, the Lord is ultimately, in control of everything. He knows what he wanted, dear Lordship. But Keshavji recommend to neutralize what was happening, 9 days, 24 hours of kirtan every 3 months, 4 times a year. Every 3 months, 9 days, 24-hour kirtan. Boy, you cannot do 9 days within 12 months to do 9 days, 216 hours non-stop was more than enough. So anyway, we all discuss, and I don't know how it came within Giri Krishna and Madhava Krishna, Krishna Gyan, and all who were there at that time. Mahendranath and all these people were wrong. Harinarayan, so many persons were wrong, and somehow the other we came up with a final thing that we will do 24 hours once a year. And I think by then it was coming on to year end. By the time we made those decisions, so it became, we will start 26th of December every year, Boxing Day, and it will go, till the fourth morning of January. So that's how this, dear Lordship, 9 days, 24-hour kirtan, that this offering, which becomes now such a big thing in all of us' mind. But that's, a little pastime behind that 9 days, 24-hour kirtan. So throughout the year, many devotees, get their benediction. Many persons come, became initiated, get opportunity to associate through, so many things that would have happened. And then, of course, the construction of the temple start to take place. Then, ups and down, shortage of finance, how to complete. So all that was the part of the ecstasy of how, we come up with this home for their Lordship. The desire, of course, were there among all of us to build them a beautiful home. Actually, when we put them there, we promised them a beautiful home, beautiful altar, and more so qualify Brahmin priests who will worship them, qualified devotees that will worship them nicely, which still work in progress. We still have to improve in that area. So many of you know many of the things that would have happened from 2016 in terms of grand festival and taking out them and on the Padayatra and like that. So I will say that I'm forever grateful to their Lordship to agree to come here first of all. And I'm forever grateful to Srila Prabhupada, who would have been the main inspirational individual or acharya in my life, in my memory, along with my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Marg Swami, and so many of the other visiting ISKCON gurus, Rajrishi Prabhu, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, and so many other Shiksha gurus over the years that would have guided and assist me in my spiritual practices and, performing or doing these humble menial services. And also I'm forever grateful to all the devotees, congregational members, well-wishers over all these years who would have continuously served and support and do so many things in so many different areas to carry on the project to this magnitude, that as we announced last Sunday, and between the visit of Maharaj a couple earlier, 2 weeks ago to last Sunday, that now we are even looking at expanding into other areas to expand, the presence of their Lordship, and more up East Coast and more, up the bank and even up the highway. Probably we'll take them up the highway sometime for a drive, and we'll tell them, if you will, then there will be a Silika city, and if you will, then there will be some Garnitai deities up on the highway. So these are all little indications of plans. If we cannot fulfill them in our lifetime, then people like Sachi Sutta and Thakur and future generation will definitely, maybe some of the children that are yet to born will be able to carry it on. That Bhakti Marg Swami, indicate at least 4 times while I was there on his last visit, who are qualified, and I'll conclude with this, who are qualified to bring forth children in the world today. So this is something really serious. who are qualified to bring forth real children in the world today. So there is only a few persons that are, if you really think of it, many children are born, they are born just like animals. Sorry to say. Many of them are being slaughtered even before birth, being killed within the womb. Who are qualified? The Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis. If two individuals come together, Vaishnava, Vaishnavi, devoted boys and girls come together who are highly trained in the process of Krishna consciousness, and they should be encouraged to bring forth as many children as possible, and those children will make a difference in society. Those are the children that will make a difference in society. There are already examples around. So many of us may think, is it possible? Yes, there are many examples in the ISKCON world already. You don't have to go outside and look for it. If you were to speak this 30 years ago or 35 years ago, people would have said, show me the example where it is. And now you can see. There are examples, so you can understand that it is real, it is possible, it is practical. Thank you very much. Their Lordship Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Ke, Srila Prabhupada Ke Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhupada Prabhu, for giving us a little historical background of the appearance, the coming of their lordships here to Guyana, to Georgetown, and some very significant events over the year, the installation ceremony, the various festivals, and you know how the whole idea of the 24 hours kirtan, which many of us look forward to every year, the 9 days kirtan. So this time we would like to invite a few of the devotees here who have over the years selflessly rendered services in various ways and means to their lordships for the pleasure of their lordships. We would like to invite His Grace Krishna Gyan Prabhu to please come forward and share some memories, some realizations, after which the head Pujari, Mother Vishaka, you can please stand by. You'll be coming after. Maybe, person like Janani Vas and, let's see, Hari Kirtan, Jai Gaura, some of the Matajis. I'm just calling random names, you know yourselves. Krishna Gyan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, as Sachi Suchan Prabhupada Prabhu has been speaking on this very special day in the history and of this temple, and also the installation of these beautiful deities, I was thinking that how did I really come to Krishna consciousness and why I'm here? And of course, the devotees is very instrumental in that. But more so, when I first came to this movement, His Grace Prabhupada Prabhu, as we all know, he loves to engage everyone. And being a mechanic, he asked me to build a Rath Yatra cart and get me engaged in different services. It has been an experience, it's been a joy serving the lordships and being among the devotees. And as many times I heard from senior devotees, if you really want Krishna, you have to go through the grind. And many of the devotees who have been here at the beginning of the installation of the deities and building of this wonderful temple would understand that. And everything that is gone is history, but yet still, it's the future. And the future with the lordships here resides at this temple would be a great opportunity for this country, would be a great opportunity for every living entities who have come in contact with the devotees and be part of this wonderful process of worshiping the lordships. I can only say to this day, I don't know why or what have me here still among the devotees, but I know for sure the Lordship mercy, the devotees, that is my, I must say that is my fortune. And I would like to express this deeply from my heart, that when we hear of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mission, when we heard of how come this Sankirtan movement was established and the reason for it in this age of Kali Yuga, and then we have Karuna Nitai deities being installed here and had the opportunity to serve, then we can understand that, I actually understand that it is true that in this age, the persons that will be attracted to this movement is no saints, because myself, I know that my struggles, I know my challenges, I know that the Lord is so merciful that He still have me here. And all of us that is in this room, and many more to come. I just want to say I'm happy to be here in this celebration. I was missing for some time. I couldn't have resisted this day, because as you get older and you understand the value and essence of Krishna consciousness, you realize that all we have in this world is the devotees, the lordships, and this is where we should be. Prabhupada has just mentioned our dear Guru Maharaj, what he has said about who is going to bring forward good children or the next generation to really lead this world. It's only the devotees that is here. And I'm very happy to be here this evening to be a part of this celebration and to be with the devotees and see the Lordship. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Gyan Prabhu. Mother Vishaka, are you here? Where? Oh, she's not here. After which, Sanjay Prabhu. Radhakishore Prabhu, Sanjay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, but I don't have very much to say, except that last night we were watching some videos, and it woke up some worms that we had so many pastimes with the deities out on the road, and then we're going to do it now in the next 3 days. If I can remember, I know that these lords, they're very merciful. I've seen devotees who pray to them. Things happened. So the only thing I know, especially for me being the head pujari, is that I just hope that they're happy and that we can become a little bit more efficient in our worship to them, and they can just give us their mercy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Sanjay Prabhu. So in the meantime, Sanjay Prabhu are coming. We should all see how wonderful it is that many of us came, we got connected, we got opportunities, continuously we've got opportunities to serve, to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. And like Mataji was saying that, prayers with their lordships, it works, right? It works. For many of us, sometimes the doubt is there whether, if you pray, if it, things will happen. But yes, their lordships are not just standing there, but behind, many things are happening. They are, as Prabhu was mentioned, they are in full control. They are coordinating everything. Sanjay Prabhu, please come.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, first of all, I just want to extend my heart congratulations and best wishes to their Lordship, Sri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. And only last night when that video was sent to me, I was looking at it, and that was around 10 o'clock in the night. And when I saw at was Luziknan, I saw their Lordship. And then I saw His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami. Then I started to think, you know what? This was just my backyard. This was just my backyard. And how fortunate I am because of their blessing. They visit our backyard. I get connected to the devotees. I eventually become disciples of His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami. And like this, I was thinking, I get to worship the deities. And to begin with, I just must say thank to Prabhupada, Prabhu Madhavishaka. They inspired Krishna Gyan Prabhu to teach me how to wave these incense and these things. So we were at lot 13, and Krishna Gyan Prabhu, thank you very much for showing me the process. One time, only up to last week, last Friday, I was prepared to do the service, the altar service. And I was thinking, you know what? What is it that I'm going to offer to the Lordship? And I remember in Bhakti Shastri class, there was a Brahmana, and he was thinking about the sweet rice. So just like that, I applied the same principle. I applied the same principle thinking that I'm offering chapati, I'm offering this sabji and that sabji and this milk and that like that. Not knowing that when I was going to the altar this afternoon, I saw all of that on the altar. So like this, I must encourage each and every one of us here. We have that opportunity to worship the deities, or Sri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. And it's so I can testify to that. Indeed, they are very merciful, the most merciful. And even though if you, by just a simple glance of the Lordship, our deities here at the temple is so much auspicious. And I can just encourage each and every one of you, continue to do your service, continue to worship the deities, and get more conviction in worship the deities. There will be miraculous things happen. Like our head Pujari Madhavishaka said, that she saw those who worship the deities, their life being transformed in different ways. So like that, I encourage each one of you, please continue to do it. Who are not doing it, please make an effort. Please come forward to do it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Sanjay Prabhu. That's not ordinary. You are doing mind meditation, mind seva, and it becomes actual seva this evening. So I don't know, that's very special potency of Sanjay Prabhu. Radhakrishna Prabhu, please. So Radhakrishna Prabhu has been very instrumental over the years to coordinate the cooking of so many offerings continuously, day in, day out, year in, year out. So we'd like to hear from him. As we all know that the kitchen is an expansion, a direct expansion or addition to the Lord's altar. extension, not expansion, extension to the Lord's altar. So, Radhikshore Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Well, they put me to say something about the Lord, what all of you already know about the Lord. You already heard it from my two seniors, Sanjaya, and I don't know Prabhupada you say, because in the kitchen make Bindu Ladu to offer tomorrow morning Mangala Arti suit. Bundi? Yes, Bundi Ladu. So, I don't know where to start from, right? So as we all know, the Lord is so merciful. That's all. He is indeed merciful. There are many, many pastimes. There are many, many experiences. Many pastimes we have heard about the Lord. There's history about the Lord that we heard many, many times. But there are so many experiences that we experience with the Lord. One time, I can't remember when I was doing doing Artik. Well, when I was doing Artik, I was looking at the Lord's face, and something wasn't nice to me. So I was looking like this. This is how I went, looking at the Lord's face, because something is, his eyes catch me, something, his eyes and his smile catch me, or something. I don't know what I was looking for. I don't know, so I can't tell you what I was looking for. But I was looking for something. I must grateful to the management then to give me the opportunity to become a pujari, trained pujari to worship the deities. So it starts from there, grateful to the devotees at that time, then and still now. Having faith in me, you know, I'm so conditioned, you know, everybody know me well. Have some faith in me to serve the Lord. I would like to reflect on what brings me here today to serve the Lord. It's a part of glorifying the Lord also. There were two individuals, one senior individual, he passed away. At La 13, we were doing Pujari service. At that time, we were trainee Pujari service. I can remember I was training Krishna Gyan Prabhu to become Pujari. And somebody else, was very senior, were there in front of me and said, he walked up like this. You have to do better. I said, what I have to do better? I don't know. So I take it into consideration. I'm lacking somewhere. And from then I start to, in my own way, reading, learning, how can I serve the Lord more efficient, more nicely, more sincerely? At least he sees something that I can't see, definitely for sure. That's why he said these things. And I glorify that the individual until today. He was harsh, but never mind. He made me like this to become still a pujari. And sometimes, you know, I dash from the surface. So yes, we know a lot of pastimes about the Lord. We have many, many experiences of the Lord. That is one experience I can share with you when I was looking the Lord's face for something. How he was looking, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm not really a too long speaker. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radhikshore Prabhu. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Hare Kirtan.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. For me, Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra, they are very, 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 very all-knowing. That's the word I was looking for. They know everything, definitely. Of course, we know that it's true. They are the Supreme Personalities of Godhead. But sometimes we say things, but it's just that. We just say it. But when we can feel, and if especially for me, there are several instances where I was doing arti and thoughts would come to mind that aren't exactly thoughts that you would appreciate in your mind while doing arti. And somehow or the other, during that very same day, something would happen that kind of corrects that thought process. And 100% of the time, it comes through all of you wonderful devotees. So I think one of the most amazing things about Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra is that their mercy, of course, are being showered upon us. Whether we deserve it or we don't, they still keep giving us. But more importantly, they have given us each other's association for our growth and development. Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra are, and I'll say it again, and it may sound like all of us here are a bunch of broken records. We just keep saying that they are very, very merciful. But I can personally attest to one example of an individual very close to me who Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra has blessed immensely. It might be, and I won't call the person's name to embarrass them, but it might be someone who we may take for granted. But despite whatever the situations are, or were, or have been, Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra still allows them to serve. Such a wonderful service, and such a wonderful blessing. It is absolutely amazing. Every single time I think about it, it's just absolutely amazing how absolutely merciful and compassionate they are to all of us. And saying this, one story comes to mind from the Ramayana. When Vibhishan came to take shelter of Sri Ramachandra, the Vanaras, headed by Sugriva, were against the idea of him joining. Because, of course, he's, from enemy camp and all of these things. So Lord Ramachandra, out of his humility, he asks a specific question worded in a specific way. He says, can I accept Vibhishan in our camp? He didn't say, should I? He asked if he could, out of his humility. But everyone was answering the question of if he should. While answering, Hanumanji gives a very, very beautiful answer that kind of stuck with me, and I've read, out of everything that I've read from Sri Vilas Prabhu's Ramayana, whenever I think back, this is the first thing that comes to mind. Hanumanji gives a reason to Sri Ramachandra of why he should accept Vibhishan as his servant. He says, if you want to know if you should or if you can accept Vibhishan as your servant, just ask your bow and arrow. Now what did he mean by this? He said, what he meant was that the bow is bent, the arrow is straight. Many of us, sometimes we are, especially for myself, we can be quite duplicitous and pretentious in our everyday dealings. And we can say in that sense we're very bent. And for me, I know I'm bent in many different places. But Lord Ramachandra, so mercifully, he always keeps that bent bow with him at all times. You never see a picture of Lord Ramachandra without a bow. You may see him without an arrow, but he always has a bow. The straight arrow represents those devotees like Srila Prabhupada who are liberated souls, who are non-duplicitous, and there may be so many devotees like that here in this assembly, who the Lord trusts to let go from him. And we know that one of the most amazing things about Lord Ramachandra, all of his arrows return to his quiver. They don't just go and they're just left there. Every single arrow comes back to his quiver. So he trusts that when he lets that straight devotee go, that they will come back. But for us who are bent, like myself, the Lord keeps us very close. And it might be kind of wrong to say, but I hope that the Lord always keeps me and all of us very close to him at all times, especially Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Harkirtan, for sharing those wonderful thoughts and your memories, your experiences of being in the Lord's association in His service. So this time we will like to invite the Kirtaniers to please engage us in the chanting, the singing of the theme song, the theme bhajan, Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. And during that, we all will be getting an opportunity to do something very special, to come forward and offer lotuses. During the bhajan, we will get an opportunity to come forward and offer lotuses to their lordships. On this very auspicious occasion and this very special time for them, their 14th installation anniversary. After which we'll be hearing from His Grace Shantavigra Prabhu, and we'll conclude with the evening Dhup Artik to their lordships.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
So the very name of their lordships, Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. So 25th of January 2009, His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami was given the name Shri Nitai-Gaurachandra. And Nitai-Gaurachandra, and then later in 2015, I believe his Srila Virbahu Maharaj would have added to that Shri Parama Karuna, most merciful, most magnanimous, most munificent Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Bhagwan
Ki Jai.
Parama Karuna Pahodaya Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Pahodaya Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Sabayavatara Sarasiramani Kevalananda Kanna
Sabavatara Sarasiramani Kevalananda Kanna
Parama Karuna Pahodaya Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Pahodaya Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Sabayavatara Sarasiramani Kevalananda Kanna
Sabavatara Sarasiramani Kevalananda Kanna
Bajo Bajo Bhai चैतन्य निताय शुद्धिदा विश्वास करे
भजो भजो भाई चैतन्य निताय शुद्धिदा विश्वास करे
विषय चरिया शेर से मजिया मुके बोलो हरि हरि
विषय चरिया शेर से मजिया मुके बोलो हरि हरि
विषय चरिया शेर से मजिया मुके बोलो हरि हरि
विषय चरिया शेर से मजिया मुके बोलो हरि हरि
परम करुणा दुर्जना निताय गौरचंद्र
परम करुणा बहुरुया निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन नाय ए मन दयाल धाता
देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन ए मन दयाल धाता
पशु पक जुरे पसना विदरे सुन जरा गुण गाता
पशु पके जोरे पसना विदरे सुनि जरा गुण गाता
पशु पके जुरे पासना विदरे सुन जरा गुण गाता
पशु पके जोरे पासना विदरे सुनि जरा गुण गाता
परम करुणा बहु दुर्जना निताय गौरचंद्र
परम करुणा बहु दुर्जना निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
निताय गौरचंद्र
संसारे मजिया रोहिणी पोरिया से पद नहीं लो आशा
संसारे मजिया रोहिले पोरिया से फारे नहीं लो आशा
अपन कर्म गुंजय समना कहे लोचन दासा
अपन karama bunjaye shamana kahoe lochana rasa
apana karma bunjaye samana kahoe lochana dhasa
apana karama bunjaye shamana kahoe lochana rasa
Parama Karuna Nitai Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Jana Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jai Nitai-Gaurachandra
Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jai Nitai-Gaurachandra
Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jai Nitai-Gaurachandra
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 Jai Nitai-Gaurachandra
Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya
Nitai-Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo
Nitai-Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ki Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mayapur Prabhu, for leading us into the wonderful, most beautiful bhajan. So at this time, we'd like to welcome and invite His Grace Shanti Vigraha Prabhu to share a few messages with us, after which we'll go for Arti Kirtan, Arti and Kirtan. So let us all welcome Shanti Vigraha Prabhu for the new year here to ISKCON of Guyana Hare Krishna Study Center. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalayataksho Vishwambaro Dvijabaro Jugadharmapalo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone together loudly. Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time loudly and enthusiastically. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As Hari Kirtan Prabhu was singing the bhajan earlier in the program, Gaurangara Duti Pada. I remember the first time I went to Mayapur, it was for Bhakti Shastri in 2003, 2004. And in Mayapur, we have a very famous kirtan singer by the name of Kamal Gopal. And him and a few other devotees, they are the kirtan party that serenade Sri Sri Radha Madhava from after Bhagavatam class till at the end of the lunchtime arti. And then again in the evening when the temple opened, there's another group. But Kamal Gopal especially is in that morning group of kirtaniyas who sing for the pleasure of Sri Sri Madhava in Mayapur. So, one of the things I was very fond of when I started becoming more involved in Krishna consciousness was our bhajans. And up to this day, one of my favorite bhajans is this one, Gaurangira Duti Pada. So, when I went to Mayapur, I went and just made myself known in the kirtan party. I just went and sat with them, and it's something myself and Rama would do every day, practically speaking, because Rama Prasad Prabhu, he also was in Bhakti Shastri with me in the same batch. So we would go there as soon as part of our sadhana, as soon as the morning Bhakti Shastri class would finish, we'd immediately go. Halfway through, we would stop and drink either a coconut or cane juice with lime in it, and then go to the temple. Now we would get there for about 11:15, sometimes 11:20 thereabout. So, but when I went that first time, Bhakti Shastri hadn't started yet. So I asked the devotees, I said, if you could please sing this one bhajan, Gaurangira Duti Pada, that would be like a dream come true for me. And so they said, you know Bengali? I said, no, but I could translate that song. So they started to laugh. And they said, all right, we'll sing the song. So after they finished up that particular bhajan, Kamal Gopal started to sing the song. And Mayapur and Hari Kirtan started to smile because they know Kamal Gopal. And some of you may know him as well. Like, you know, especially the Bengalis, when they sing, they have a way, they put in other lines into the song that aren't there. Right? And we wouldn't read it on the screen, but they would sing it. Because it's their language and it's their culture. And sometimes they can play with it, you know, because they have a certain command over these bhajans. And so he started to sing. And, you know, sometimes theoretically you hear that when you are in Mayapur, you are in the Dham. It is none different from the spiritual world. We hear that theoretically, right? And we accept that. When we go to Vrindavan, they tell us, well, this is the holy Dham. When we come to temple, they tell us also, this is the holy Dham. You know, so Mayapur. But when he started to sing, I was convinced it was the holy Dham. I was convinced. As soon as he started the first line, and this is also Bengali culture. So you had some old ladies in the temple room. They immediately dropped on the ground and started to roll. And then the ladies on that other side, they started to ulu. Like, you know, if you ever went to Mayapur and you hear it. And then the people who started to roll, then the security guards went up to them and just tapped them with the stick. And then they just got up off of their pranams and went back to the back and continued to ulu with the rest of the ladies. But it was such an amazing experience. One of the lines in the song, there's a song by Narottam Das Thakur, and Prabhupada actually gives an explanation to the song, like, and how the archives has done it. It's so amazing that Prabhupada sings the bhajan, and then the bhajan goes on repeat in the background on very low volume, and then they have Prabhupada giving the translation of the bhajan. And the first line Prabhupada says, and many bhajans he starts like this. He says, this is a song by Narottam Das Thakur. And he starts off like that. And one of the lines in the bhajan It says, Griheva vonite take ha Gauranga bole dake. And whether one is a grihasta or whether one is a renunciant. Griheva, one is living in a house. Or vanite, one is living in the forest. He has taken sannyas or even vanaprashta or babaji as the case may be, and he's living in the forest. But if he says at least once, ha Gauranga bole dake, then Narottama Mage Tarasanga. Narottam Das Thakur desires that person's association. Anybody who chants the name of Gauranga. So I remember in the beginning, somebody was saying that, they are the lords of Georgetown, right? So you could even say in the bhajan, Griheva Gayana Take, Ha Gauranga Bole Dake. Whether one is a Grihasta, whether one is a Grihasta in Guyana. If one chants the holy name of Gauranga, then great personalities like Narottam Das Thakur want to be in their company. And it's true. One of the unfortunate things that we experience is that we are far distant from being intimately connected with the spiritual reality. Even though our nature, our actual nature, is that we are spiritual, completely spiritual beings. That is who we are. We are not this body, the gross form of which is composed of earth, water, fire, air, ether, or to put it in a different way, solids, liquids, gases, heat, and space. We are not the subtle body, which is composed of the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. Sometimes you could think, but even with the mind, you cannot think of Krishna. Why? Because the mind is also material and Krishna is spiritual. So even on a very subtle level, when we get that opportunity to think of Krishna, we should understand that that is a gift, that is a benediction. Because the ordinary mind cannot think of Krishna, because Krishna is completely spiritual. And then this is the next part of it. We should understand also that the deity is spiritual, because the deity is none different from Krishna. There are many other cultures that would dispute this fact. But the Vedic culture is so superlative in its understanding of the absolute truth that even when we are confined within the cocoon of material consciousness, we still have access to the spiritual reality. Why? Because there is nothing in existence besides Krishna and Krishna's energies. Krishna and Krishna's energies are the sum total of all reality. And knowledge means to understand what is matter, or Krishna's external energy, that energy which constructs and pervades this material universe where we find, that energy which constructs our physical body and our subtle body also. That is Krishna's external energy. But Krishna, he exists with his internal energy also. That is where he enjoys his eternal pastimes with his devotees and eternal associates. The jiva, each and every one of us, is also part of Krishna's energy. We are Krishna's marginal energy. So in reality, there is nothing except Krishna and Krishna's energies. This is actually the complete understanding of the Supreme Lord. When Vyasadeva in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam was encouraged by Narad Muni that you should exclusively glorify Krishna in trance, Vyasadeva began to meditate, and what he saw was Krishna along with all his energies. This is what he saw. Apashyat Purusham Purvam. He experienced that. He saw that. He saw also that the living entity, us, even though we are eternal servants of Krishna, even though we are spiritual by our very nature, we think ourselves to be a product of the external energy. So back to the point. because there is nothing other than Krishna and Krishna's energy, then even through these gross physical elements, Krishna can manifest himself. Krishna can manifest himself. To say that Krishna cannot manifest himself in physical reality is to limit Krishna, is to limit God. So Krishna, and this is the amazing thing about the Vedic culture. This is the amazing thing about Krishna consciousness. This is the amazing thing about worshipping the deity. The benediction of the deity, like sometimes people say, can you show me God? Like if you see God, you will recognize. You know, sometimes if Krishna were to walking right here, I mightn't recognize that. Maybe some of us might. Even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna was there. There was a number of people who couldn't recognize Krishna as God. Even Shishupal was there in the Ashwamedha Yagya, or Rajasuya Yagya, when they were crowning Yudhishthira Maharaj. And they said, who should be worshipped? Yudhishthira Maharaj immediately, and everybody agreed, Krishna should be worshipped. Except one fellow, Shishupal. Shishupal said, he should not be worshipped. And Krishna said, I disagree with you. So what is your argument? Sudarshan Chakra. And that was the end of that argument. So even Krishna could be right there, and there's no guarantee we'll recognize. Rajarshi Prabhu would often say, sometimes we could have cognition. We could know about God, we could know about Krishna, but there's no recognition. We could know something, but when it comes in front of us, we are unable to realize it, to experience it, to touch it. But Krishna, he appears in the form of matter, apparently, because it is his energy. It is Krishna's energy. And Krishna appears in the form of the deity. Why? Because we cannot contact spirit in our conditioned state. It is impossible. But Krishna appears before us in a way that we can contact spirit. And this is the deity. So amazing. It does not take away from Krishna's omnipotence. So somebody might say, so you say Haribol, the deity is God? Or we say, yes, deity is God. So let him do a miracle. Let him do something. You know, if he is God and he is omnipotent, let me take a bat and hit him, and he should be able to defend himself. You know, put up a block. If somebody is going to swing a bat at him. The omnipotence of God is not necessarily manifest in the form of the deity. It may or may not be in our experience. What is manifest in the form of the deity is the accessibility and the mercy of the Lord. That is what is manifest in the form of the deity. To give us a chance. It shows the flexibility of the Supreme Lord. To apparently come to our level, in our plane of existence. And what is the result of that? When he comes down to us, in a way, in a form that we can appreciate, in a way that we can touch, that we can serve. When we engage in that service, then our consciousness goes up to spirituality. By Krishna apparently coming down, when we come in contact with that, through the mercy of the devotees, by our own voluntary admission into the Lord's service, then our consciousness goes up. This is the mercy of the deity. This is the value of the deity. Srila Prabhupada gives a very crude but simple but profound example. in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And he actually says that. He says in the purport, a very crude example can be given in this regard. And he gives the example of a post box. There's this verse in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava. That one who sees the Lord everywhere, not even that, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, that Krishna is everything. That person is a very great person. That person is some Mahatma, Sudurlabha. In the 9th chapter, Mahatma will also be used. One who's always chanting, he's Mahatma. But one who sees Krishna everywhere, that is Mahatma. Now, not even that sees Krishna, who sees that Krishna is everything. But it's very interesting. Not because Krishna is everything by his energy, we'll worship any stone in the street, or we'll worship any leaf. Not because Krishna is everything, but those forms which are given within the Shastra. When we worship those forms, so that Mahatma, even the same Mahatma who sees Krishna as everything, he worships the deity also. That specific form. The example of our acharyas. All of our acharyas worship the deity. Rupa Goswami had his deity, Radha Govinda. Jiva Goswami had his deity. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had his deity. Today is Vasant Panchami. And people would celebrate Vasant Panchami as Saraswati Puja. If you look at our calendar, you see, I think, Raghunandan Thakur disappearance. If we speak about, we talk about Raghunandan Thakur and his Pujari service. Sanjaya Prabhu and others were speaking about receiving the reciprocation of the deity. It is real. We can experience the reciprocation of the deity. There are many devotees who would have had personal interaction with the deity. And they would not tell us. And sometimes if they tell us, we would not believe. I can share one experience or two experiences. When I was staying at Bhaktivedanta Manor, this was early 2003, I was assisting one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, very amazing devotee. Her husband was, I think she was the first female disciple of Srila Prabhupada in South Africa. Sham Sundari Mataji, this is Gopal's mom. One of Indra's Mridanga players. Kirtan people might know who Gopal is. And I would cook with her, and somehow she liked me. She liked me just like she would like our own children. Then we developed myself and Rupa Goswami also. She liked us very much. And she would spoil us. She would always make like aloo parathas for us and bring, don't tell anybody I made this. She's a very eccentric lady also. And we were cooking, and that morning we made samosas. I wasn't second initiated at the time. And the pujari for that Rajbhog was a very nice disciple of Bhakti Charu Maharaj by the name of Doyal Baladev. And Doyal Baladev, after the offering, when he brought the cart back to the kitchen, he came in a very excited voice, and exclaimed. He said, Shamsundari Mataji, Shamsundari Mataji, you would not believe what happened. And she's also a very eccentric person. Oh, what are you talking about, Doyal Baladev? If you hear, she talks just like that, when she gets excited, right? And he said, Krishna ate one of your samosas. And she said, what nonsense are you speaking, Doyal Baladev? And he said, just see. And he took off the cloth. And he said, look, the samosa is broken in half. And she said, no, it must have been broken. He said, I put the offering, it wasn't broken when I put it. He said very matter-of-factly. So that is one thing. I remember many, many years ago. I don't even think I was initiated at that time. I went to, it was a Nrsimha Day festival at the temple, Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Mandir, where I primarily serve in Trinidad. And I used to suffer from very severe migraines. Like I don't know what. And that day was even worse because my uncle was doing some construction and I was fasting, no food, no water, and mixing concrete like a madman in the hot sun. And then like got ready in the evening, I went to the temple and I had one, like I feel like literally, like somebody had taken a very heavy sledgehammer and just cracked me in the center of my head and leave the sledgehammer right there. It was, as I could remember, one of the most painfully throbbing headaches I ever had. I went into the temple, I offered obeisances to Prabhupada, and I went in front of the deity. And in my mind, I shouted at Radha Gopinath. Like literally, like I shouted. I said, you are the Supreme Lord and you see me have this headache. Why you can't make this headache stop? And the headache stopped. As soon as the words came out of my mouth, the headache stopped. This is about what? Maybe 20-something years ago. And I am still amazed by that. I am still amazed by that. You know, and there's many other, and these experiences we have are not evidence that even the deity is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is even not the evidence of that. That is for our benefit, so we could become convinced that He is the Supreme Lord. That sometimes we have these experiences. Srila Prabhupada would often say that, and he would say it with such affection. Some of you might have heard this, that the pujari is the most fortunate devotee. You ever heard that? Prabhupada said that. Of course, that is not to say, Prabhupada would also say that the book distributors are the most fortunate devotees. Or so many people. Whoever Prabhupada was speaking with them, they would be the most fortunate. But he was speaking specifically, and this is the point he made after, that the pujari is the most fortunate. And he said something to the effect that because they actually get to touch the body of the Lord. You imagine that? And Prabhupada said it with such conviction in the simple way that only Srila Prabhupada could do. Srila Prabhupada has this way about him. I don't know if you recognize that. That he says the most simple things in the most innocent way. But when you hear it, it is like the full tattva of Srimad Bhagavatam falling on your head and the full rasa of Raslila coming into your heart at the same time. The simplicity and the innocence with which Srila Prabhupada would say these things. That the pujari is so fortunate because he gets to touch the body of the Lord. When we have the opportunity to engage in the service of the deity, and I'm speaking specifically now about pujaris, and the reason why I speak like this because I am a struggling pujari. One of my closest friends in Krishna consciousness is Rupa Goswami Das. You may have known him. He did your wedding, right? He's a natural pujari. He's a natural priest. Like, it comes so naturally for him. You know? And because it comes so naturally for him, and I am his friend, he feels it necessary to force me to be a pujari also. Or to force me to be a priest. You know, well, he didn't force me to be a priest, but out of necessity. So then I had to learn from him. You know, so he started to worship deity. So he said, you should also get initiated and start to worship deity. But I never had a natural likeness for pujari service. I always had a more natural proclivity towards Bhagavatam and reading and sharing. That was my natural proclivity. And he had a natural proclivity towards worship. Natural as a duck would take to water. He just takes to pujari service. Anything about pujari service, all the little technicalities you could ask him, he might know. And he just is attracted to pujaris. You know? And so that was very difficult for me. And up to now I still struggle with being a pujari. I worship deities in my home. And I still don't find it natural. It's not a natural thing. So what I try to do is always have a pujari service in the temple. Why? So I could experience maybe what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about when he says that the pujari is very fortunate. And I'll tell you something. From time to time, I do experience it. It is not me standing up here saying this like as an advertisement of myself, but to show the potency of the worship of the deity and to show the potency of the words of the Acharya. Sometimes inexplicably, I know Monday is my day to do Rajbhog Arati in the temple. And as far as possible, I try to arrange my whole life around Monday lunchtime. Whether it's dropping children to school or whatever happen. Like even normally, right? Like when I come to Guyana, I would never leave on a Sunday. Almost never. You all could remember that over the years, right? I'd always leave on a Monday or a Tuesday. Why? Because generally lunchtime Sunday feast would be here and evening Sunday feast I would probably go to Crane Temple. So I would always leave. But when Prabhupada called me, and the thing is Prabhupada only called me Monday and say, listen, I want you to come for Padayatra. So I said, but what is this? But my wife not even in the country. Why I could do with the children? You know? So she came home last night, about 10 o'clock in the night, and during the day I said, well, I expect her to say no, she'll be tired and this and that. And she said, well, Prabhupada, they've asked me to come for Padayatra. And he never asked me something like that, so he must really want me to come. You know? So she said, well, fix up now, you go ahead. So I booked a ticket immediately. And I was thinking, I'll go back Monday or Tuesday. And I said to myself, no, I'll go back Sunday evening, the latest flight I could get, because I don't want to miss my service. Because sometimes you develop that attachment. I do have that attachment, maybe it's just accustomed to the routine, because I like to function in a routine. I like to function in a routine. You know? And then I'm sure like the cooks, as what Harry Kirtan was saying, the kitchen is an extension of the altar. It is. It is. And Sanjay was saying he used to come, I'm sure Radha Kishore, he's always meditating on what to cook, what to put together for the feast. That is also deity worship. The devotees who make garlands, most times 90%, 99% of the times even is always Mataji, it's true? Making garlands, right? That is worshipping the deity. Sometimes, on some occasions, you would find one person standing up in the altar there, waving the incense and waving the... That is not by guess. He is one person. But the actual consciousness is he is the one chosen at that particular time to offer these things on behalf of the whole yatra. Being a pujari is an opportunity to offer service to Krishna on behalf of everyone who is not able to enter into the altar at this point in time. And when we as persons observe the arati, we get the same benefit as the person standing in the altar. This is the sublime nature of Krishna consciousness, of bhakti especially. We get that benefit. So how can we become connected to the deity? You don't need a string, as Prabhupada would say, a 50 paisa string. I don't know if women lucky or unlucky, they don't have to get a string when they get second initiated. You know. But it's not that we need to be second initiated to be dedicated to the service of the Lord. The Lord appears to give us that opportunity to become connected to Him. And what more specifically, to understand that God is a person. He has transcendental form, He has transcendental qualities, He has transcendental attributes, He has transcendental pastimes. And when we worship the deity, that understanding, which is the foundation and bedrock of bhakti, that God, Krishna, is a person. He's the best of all persons. He's the best looking of all persons. Then some people might say, well, no, exactly Radharani. I wouldn't argue with that. I'm not getting involved in that. You know. He's the kindest of all persons. He's the most grateful of all persons. Recently, I was teaching Bhakti Shastra and we were dealing with the 4 types of people who surrender to Krishna. Right? And you know what Krishna describes them as? He uses a very interesting word to describe even the people who surrender to Him because they want to get a cash balance increase. You know? Even the person who only surrender unto him to avoid a doctor's bill or a mechanic bill because they're in distress. Mechanic too expensive. Let me pray to Krishna to fix that. My car could be fixed. Let me pray to Krishna that, whatever calamity I'm experiencing could be dealt with. Somebody will say, hey, where is this thing here? Let me find out something. Just inquisitive. Whether you're distressed, whether you're in need of money, whether you're just curious, or whether you want to be a devotee and love Krishna like the devotees in Vrindavan, like the Jnani. Krishna describes all these people as, you know what? Udara. Udara means magnanimous. What is magnanimity? It's like Namo Mahavaranyaya. Right? Most magnanimous. Most magnanimous. But Krishna is describing even those who surrender unto him with a materially tinged motive. He's saying, no, these people are Udara. They are so magnanimous. Why? Because even though they can do so many things with their independence, they are coming to me. And Acharya's comment that Krishna feels grateful. Krishna feels grateful. He is the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada will often say, Krishna does not want our burnt chapatis. Krishna does not care for our late offering. That we make a mistake and skip out one of the acharyas when doing arati. People laugh because it happens, right? Sometimes it happens. Krishna is what? Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. He is served by millions and millions of Lakshmi. Not one Lakshmi. Diwali time people say, what do you do for Diwali? Worship Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. That is one Lakshmi. But Krishna has Lakshmi Sahasra. Unlimited number of Lakshmis at his beck and call, willingly and voluntarily, and they don't feel subjugated like if they are governed by the patriarchy. They feel very happy to be in Krishna's service. But Krishna is saying these devotees here in this material world who begin to render some service to me for whatever reason, I am grateful for that. You imagine that? When we understand Krishna as a person, we could appreciate these statements. When we understand that the deity is that same Krishna who appears to facilitate the growth of our natural love for Krishna, then we'll appreciate that statement that Krishna becomes grateful. So to be connected to the deity, as Srila Prabhupada has taught us, to make the deity the center of our community, to respect our fellow devotees who come to the temple, and just as we would respect the deity on the altar. You cannot imagine how ecstatic that makes Krishna feel. Cannot imagine. When we place Krishna in the center, and we as his devotees attempt to serve him in a cooperative way, individually and cooperatively, Krishna immediately takes notice of that. And that is the beginning and the continuation of all auspiciousness in our life. And you know what Krishna likes as well? Apart from taking the opportunity to do some service, Krishna likes regularity. I remember, same Rupa Goswami, right? When I now started to do Pujari service, it was such a personal thing. And up to now, it is such a touching thing that I remember. When he used to do lunchtime arati, so he took me to train me up to start to do Rajbhog arati and so on. So before anything, when we went in to set the area up for the offering, he took me in front of Gaur Nitai first, and he says, this is Shanta Vigraha Das. He's now going to be trained up in your service. Please give him your mercy. Something to that effect. And he took me in front of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, and he says, this is Shanta Vigraha Das. He's going to take up some service to you. Please allow him to continue in his service. Such a personal thing. To be introduced to the Lord in a formal way, as a servant. That is what it means to be a pujari. To be associate, to understand the Lord as a person. Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. To think, if this is a person, what would this person like? Just like when today is the Lord's birthday, right? Today is the Lord's birthday. This is Brahmotsava, the day Nitai-Gaurachandra appeared to accept our worship, the anniversary of that day. This is a day just like Janmashtami. This is non-different from Janmashtami. Or to say different, non-different from Gaura Purnima and Nityananda Trayodasi combined. This is Brahmotsava. Because this is the day they appear. And we ask them, my dear Lord, we will try to serve you. Will you accept that service? And the Lord says, yes, I will remain here and accept that service. A very personal thing. Brahmotsava. So when we have that opportunity to come together with regularity, that we take up some responsibility in the Lord's service, within the Lord's family. And whether it is giving 1 rupee or 1 Guyanese dollar, or bringing 1 orange to the temple every time we come, or bringing 1 bag of flour, because that is all we could do. Krishna sees that as being udara. This person is so magnanimous, and I am grateful to that person. When we take up something and we are regular with it, Krishna appreciates that. Srila Prabhupada appreciates that. So with these words, I would like to urge you. And many of you already are, so maybe I'm speaking to the choir, is it? Preaching to the congregation or to the choir. That many of you are, and all of you probably are, more than me even, connected to the service of the deity. But see what you can do, what we can do, what I can do to be regular in the Lord's service. The Lord feels pleasure and we grow spiritual in our love for Him. And it pleases Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ji ki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shantavika Prabhu, for sharing those wonderful thoughts with all of us and your experiences, your realizations. So we'd like to invite everyone to please stand. We'll go for the Dup Artik and simultaneously Kirtan. So just to remind everyone, tomorrow our 3 days Padayatra festival begins. The parade begins at Annandale tomorrow afternoon around 3:30. And then the stage program at Lusiknan Tarmac.
Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Nitai-Gaurachandra Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So I don't think that anyone will want to leave. I'm sorry for those who are joining us virtually because there's a lot of goodies. 108 offering is on the altar that will be served to everyone just now. So I'm just making that don't think of leaving. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama,
Krishna. Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra ke. Shri Prabhupada ke. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much to being here with us for this wonderful celebration. 14th anniversary of their Lordship, Shri Shri Parama Karuna Nitai-Gaurachandra. I don't know where you want to be right now, but I want to be right here. So there are special things about Brahmotsava, like normally if we perform Abhishek, then we get the opportunity to see the Lord bathe. We get the opportunity to take the Charanamrita that comes from the Lord body. And then when they make 108 preparations, I don't know how much they will give us, but 108 preparation was, at least 108, was offered to the Lordship. And it will come out directly from the altar to each one of us. 120 plus they are whispering in my ears here. So please come and collect your prasadam directly from the Pujari, directly from the Pujari is just acting on behalf of the Lord. You're collecting directly from the Lord. So you can start to give. No, Sanjay, you have to give them. Don't make it take. Give him that. He won that. Hare Krishna. Mahaprasadam ke jai. So you can go outside and eat at least. Don't eat inside the temple room.
Gaurang Mero Madhur কর্ণে প্রবেশিলা হৃদয় নির্মল বেদতাল গৌরাঙ্গের মধুর লীলায় যার কর্ণে প্রবেশিলা হৃদয় নির্মল বেদতাল গৌরাঙ্গের দুটি পদায় যার ধনায় সম্পদ সে জানে ভগতি যে গৌরাঙ্গে নামলয় তার হয় প্রেম যে গৌরাঙ্গের নামলয় তার হয় প্রেম আরে যাই বলি হরি যে গৌরাঙ্গের নাম লয় তার হয় প্রেম তারে যাই বলি হরি গৌরাঙ্গ নামেতে ঝুলে নিত্য লীলা